This episode of the Siam Hockey League News is brought to you by the Big Chili Magazine, where in this issue there's a great profile titled Joe Henry, Marketing Communications Expert. So we've just finished off our 12th week of games, and we had some exciting things going on in these games. What do you think?
The first game of the night was really well matched for 2/3 of the game. It went back and forth, back and forth. It was a really exciting affair, but just at the end, one team continues to dominate and pull away with consistency. And then in the second game, which we'll get to a little bit later, there was some other fireworks.
Yes, there was. But yeah, so in our first game, we had the Novotel Spitfires going head-to-head with Siam Mandalay, the only team to beat them so far this year.
I thought that they did a wonderful job for the vast majority of this game.
Mm-hmm.
Before the puck drop, I had a brief conversation with Captain Jordan Ashton about what he wanted to do to try and be successful, and I brought that same point up. You're the only team to have beaten Novatel this year. How do you do it again? And the first words out of his mouth were, well, it would be nice to play with a lead.
Which didn't happen.
Which unfortunately for them didn't happen. But with that caveat, their bounce back. They're not multiple times not quitting in this game, even to the final whistle.
Yeah,
it was close the entire game against what has clearly been the class of the league so far.
They definitely have been the class of the league. They have set the bar quite high for everybody. I mean, you score with less than 2 minutes into the game. Again, massive first period starts the last several games for this player.
Major. Wow. What fire he has had. Yohani, I had a lot of fun this week. I got to speak and have color commentator Yohani Ias as my color guy. He is the Thai national team head coach. Mm-hmm. So his perspectives on a lot of these players who I don't see as much, and just having a simple conversation instead of my own voice during the games was a lot of fun. I give him a lot of credit and thanks for coming out.
I mean, he knows these Thai players. The only person who would come even close to knowing the Thai players would be Scotty Hockey, but Yohani really knows these guys, and he's been with them for a few years. So,
total credit to Major for this blistering start to games he's had these last few weeks. So, awesome work, and let's hope that continues.
I'm sure it will, but we'll talk more about that a little bit later. And then our second goal, which was by Ken Kindborn, which was assisted by
Mangkorn Sukwiboon. We're going to be saying their names a few more times.
Yeah, Mangkorn is so much fun to watch because I can remember, as I said before, and I've said this many times this year, 3 years ago, Mangkorn was a guy who didn't like to pass the puck. He held on to it. He did the same move every time, and once everybody figured it out, that was that. He was done. You know, he couldn't get the puck past the blue line, or if he got it past the blue line, he couldn't get it off the boards. Now, last year, he started to change his game, and this year, he is contributing so much to the Novotel Spitfires. It's just unbelievable.
He has excellent speed, very good vision, and now that he's chosen to pass the puck, he's using that accuracy, which has scored a lot of goals, to give his teammates, excellent setups.
Yes, he has. So
really good puck moving defensive, and then because he's got so much speed and he has a good feel for when to bring pressure, he gives the other team the feeling of an odd man situation or somebody else I have to cover, and that's going to give the other shooters more room to operate.
One of those offensive defensemen, which is really the way hockey has been going the last few years, and it's a lot of fun to watch. It's sadly for me, that's not how I play, but
well, everybody has their role, right? And you need defensive defensemen to counter that, because if you have two offensive players and both guys are going to move up, all of a sudden it goes the other way and your goaltender's out to dry.
That's right. So, and then Siam Mandalay,
not even 30 seconds later,
decided to start coming back. Short-handed goal by Turner Johnson.
Or excuse me, I got confused there, but yes,
that's okay.
Turner Johnson. So this is where the Siam Mandalay comeback. Beautiful. It took them a little while to get started, but once they had that spark, as you say, on the power play, or should say shorthanded.
Penalty kill.
Penalty kill. Excuse me. I should be talking for Siam Mandalay's perspective. Turner Johnson, what a huge few weeks he's had as well.
Yes, yeah.
That crash line, led by him really as the centerman, often winning faceoffs, putting his team in good position, takes the puck and goes coast to coast and will not quit on this play. Original save made by by Ben, and he follows up the shot and gets the goal, I believe.
Yes, he did, and it was a nice little shot. So it's fun to see. I mean, you've got a lot of skilled players, and Turner Johnson is a skilled player, but he's more of a grinder type player. So it's nice to see when these guys like this get on the board.
Of course. So. And just a few minutes later, continuing that streak, the crash line, along with Ernesto Bauer, and here getting the goal,
Darius. I love to watch Darius play, and he never quits. It doesn't matter if it's at the center ice, in the offensive zone, the defensive zone, along the boards, on the goal line, in front of the net. He never stops until that whistle blows. He just goes, grinder through and through.
And him pairing a very similar style of play on that line with Turner, as you just mentioned.
Yep.
And Ernesto, who we just talked about as getting the assist
Absolutely.
On that play.
The little bulldog.
These guys really feed off each other.
They do. And they're so much fun to watch. So
Great on them.
Hopefully they'll be bring more points as we wind down the season here.
So going into the second, it's 2-2.
Yeah, can you believe it? And it's like, I'm thinking, ooh, this is going to be a close one.
This is measuring up. And I talked to Yohani on the broadcast. All right, so this is what Jordan talked about, right? Trying to get back even, give them a lot of credit for not rolling over. Mm-hmm. Can they get the go-ahead goal? Well, halfway into the second period,
Novotel Spitfires get a goal from
Christoph Anliker.
And it was beautiful.
This looked like a goal you might score in NHL using the deke stick. He did a beautiful motion going, I believe it was from forehand to backhand, delaying action. Beautifully timed, completely took Dream out of position, and he just had to tap it in.
It was great. And such a beautiful goal, which was also set up by Andrew Ross and Friesen there. So
Ross getting his second point of the night. He had a really solid game. And Friesen says, hey, don't forget about me.
But to Siam Mandalay's credit, just a few minutes later, Darius gets his second of the night to tie things up again.
Not going away in this game. I was so proud of Siam Mandalay's continued ability to fight and to claw back in this once again. Turner Johnson contributing with an assist, and one of their better defensemen, Mike Wilson, coming in and getting an assist on this play as well.
And then with just over 2 minutes left in the period, Seb Verdy getting his third point of the season.
Back-to-back weeks of really solid play. Yohani and I watched this. It was just a good knuckling puck that kind of changed direction and took Dream off of guard. And once again, Novatel is back in the lead.
And then with a minute and a half left in the period, Siam Mandalay decides to tie things up one more time with Win Khuakeaw. Excellent sub coming in. So
first time I got to see him ever play, and I can see why there's hype around this young man. He's got a lot of talent, beautiful hands, and they were fully on display on this goal.
And he's got speed. Mm-hmm. So with the helpers coming from Non Exemeron and Tan Limpenpet.
The tie lines on these teams across the SHL have gelled so much more week after week. It's been really fun to watch them play.
Absolutely. And I mean, you see it in all, as you said, you see it in all the teams. So they're so much fun. There's so much talent there and speed to go with that talent. They're pretty amazing to watch.
So going into the third period, it's 4-4.
Oh. Nail biter, right?
And I just felt like, man, I'm surprised. I'm shocked, right? Siam Mandalay just won't go away. But eventually, that Novatel consistency, that balance, that depth on the team, up until this point, only had 1 point on the night. Stasny says, hey, everybody, remember me last week when I tied the league record with 6 points in a game? Let me just turn it on a little bit here.
And he gets a goal, which is assisted by Seb Verdy and Mangkorn Sukwiboon. So, yeah, he just definitely, it's like he just hit another level in that third period. So
another minute later, once again, almost the same thing.
Yep, this time assisted by Kindborn and Mangkorn Sukwiboon. So
that defensive pairing in this game, Ken and Mangkorn, two offensive players with speed, with vision, with excellent passing.
They have the speed and the vision, or the awareness to come back when they need to come back, which is a good thing to see.
And now I've actually, thinking about it, I might have seen Mangkorn play forward in this game. But anyway, point being, he and Kindborn had beautiful, beautiful chemistry in this game. And once again, Stasny putting the goal away.
Yep. And then with 5.5 minutes left in the game, Stasny sets up
Mangkorn again.
So...
And Siam Mandalay, again, to their credit, it's fortunately a little too late, but they don't quit again.
Turner Johnson
gets a goal, clawing them back in this game, assisted by Captain Jordan Ashton and Ernesto Bauer getting another point in this night. So love to see them clawing back at 7-5, and they rallied in the final 4.5 minutes, trying to claw one away. But Ben, statistically, having a little bit of a letdown, but playing very solidly the whole night. None of these were easy goals that he gave up.
No. Definitely they were not. So, and what did you see through the Novotel Spitfires?
What beautiful hockey week after week from this team. You've got young Thai players with a lot of passion, a lot of talents, combining that with experience. You see them having massive confidence because they've had this consistency week after week. You see that with Major now 2 games in a row scoring early. And then, not to be outdone, the foreign players who sometimes have experience in their home leagues or in juniors or whatever, and especially on display with the Jerky Monster play of the week. What a beautiful deke and goal from Christoph. I mean, this was just a highlight reel play.
And you can't forget about Mangkorn Sukwiboon. 4 points on the night.
Well-deserved as the Rolling Stone Pizza player of the game. And here's Dom with that interview.
I'm here with the Rolling Stone Pizza player of the game, Mangkorn. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dom. Tonight, 4 points. 4
points.
Yeah, 1 goal and 3 assists. Good game, good team, and good teamwork. Good passing for my team, and good work for another team. Good play.
It was a very close game.
Yeah, very good. Tonight, everyone is very hard. Work hard. Good teamwork.
Excellent. Well, congratulations again.
Thank you. Good game.
And then in our second game of the night, we had Aware facing off against KCG. And week in and week out, I'm hoping Aware can pull off their second win. But it's difficult. 6 minutes into the first period.
Starting from a deficit again.
Yep.
Patrick Forstner having another big game for his new team, scoring the goal, assisted by Jan Isaacson and
Gabe Roscoe.
Gabe is one of those consistent defensive players who doesn't always end up on the score sheet, but is just a really solid guy to have on your back end.
Yeah, absolutely. He's either the third pass to start off the play, or he's breaking up plays coming into the defensive zone. He's a really good all-around player. He's fun to watch. So.
And Jan, week after week, having missed, I think it was the first 2 games of the season, is now the top point getter in or on KCG, is one of the top players in the SHL in terms of points, and he's got less games played than some of his teammates.
Yes, that's true. That's true. But, I mean, he's always contributing. Either he's getting a goal or he's getting an assist. I've talked to a few of the guys on Aware in particular, and they said one of the hardest things to defend against with Jan is he never stops moving. He's constantly skating around. He doesn't stop to wait for a puck. He's looking for open ice, constantly looking for open ice, and he's moving around trying to get that opening to either set somebody up or to tip it in or get a goal.
Some people just have that knack. And I'm not going to compare him to the great one, but that's what a lot of people talked about him for.
Yep.
He knew that he should put himself in a position to be successful. Where is the puck going to be? How can I put myself in a position physically to just be present? And Jan is one of those types of players, and goal scorer coming off a birthday week where he scored the game-winning goal. Patrick again having a really solid game throughout.
But in the first period, Aware didn't quit. With 2.5 minutes left in the first period, Masato Kitayama scoring, tying things up, which was set up by Devin Michael and Roger Promtong.
So once again, these young Thai players with a lot of potential. Mm-hmm. We saw this in the previous week as well. You see it there. It's kind of a flash in the pan last week, and this week we were hoping to see a little bit more of that. They didn't quite put it all together offensively. They had their moments, right? You see it here on this goal, but one problem, a killer in any sport, when you give up an opposing team counter goal, shortly after they rob you of all that momentum, and that's what happened here. Less than 30 seconds left in the first period.
With Time scoring the goal, which again was assisted by
Jan Isaacson
and Poon. So it's hard, You've got a minute in or 2 minutes from your goal, they're scoring a goal, and another problem is you've got guys in the penalty box for Aware.
It's tough.
They don't get a lot of penalties every week, but there's always somebody getting a penalty. I'd have to look back, and it just makes it really, really difficult to do anything when you have players in the box.
And furthermore, sometimes, you might make a bad play, and a lot of guys just go and skate, and that's understandable. But what additionally can happen to some players is they then start to let things out of their control get the better of them. And we'll allude to that in the second period.
And in the second period, KCG they found their sixth gear, So you had Poon scoring a goal, which was assisted by Patrick and Gabe Roscoe again. So
once again, Poon, a Thai player, showing a lot of promise. He's gained a lot more chemistry and experience with his line mates, and week after week I've seen his game improve. And he's now almost at, I believe, a point per game clip in the 2021 part of our season.
It's pretty close. So, and then with less than 30 seconds left in the period, you talk about this all the time. The last 2 minutes of the period, you just can't.
It's so big, so important, and you just steal all that momentum from your team. You end that yourself on a downer, and you're already starting from a deficit, trying to claw back into this game. But on KCG's side, and just saying, give them a ton of credit, they never let their foot off the gas, which they've done before. So
yes, they have. Yes, they have. And
in the last 30 minutes, Mel, as you said, getting the goal.
Which was assisted again by Patrick Forstner and Pete Jared DePrita.
The KCG other newcomer who came along with Patrick, kind of the unheralded player, but being a consistent.
He's consistent. He's got a lot of assists this year, so he's always contributing. But
so going into the third, you've got yourself this 4-1 deficit, and you wanted to see.
Well, finishing off the second period, I mean, it's so tough. There was a call. There was a bad move by a player. And he kind of lost his cool.
And I can understand being emotional, and then maybe perhaps it was a poor call, and you're now to have the straw that broke the camel's back, and you're saying, "Oh man,
this call was
in
not
particular
a bad
was not
call.
The one to lose your cool over." Everybody on ice from across the arena could have seen this call. It was just a bad play.
It was a bad play, and he lost his cool, and
unfortunately, he's not going to be playing with us for the next couple of weeks because of abuse of an official, which, again, how many different ways can we say the same thing? Guys, you have to control what you can, and you have to let go of the things you can't control. It does not serve you. It does not serve your team, more importantly.
That's right. So, and then Justin got a 10-minute misconduct penalty for shooting after the whistle, but he accepted it. He was like, hey, you're right. I did it. I'm sorry. It was a mistake. But he sat his penalty,
And you notice the difference in the reactions of these two players. One player, with respect, said, hey, I disagree with this. This was a complete accident. I was in frustration. I was trying to pass it down to the other end, and it accidentally hit him. And the official responded calmly saying, I understand that. I know it was an accident. The rule of the law is this is what happens.
This is what happens. So.
And we were talking before the camera started rolling. I would be in favor, if possible, to have discretion from the official, kind of like what we see in football, where you have a running into the kicker penalty versus a roughing the kicker penalty type of scenario. Until we get there, though, this is the rule. And the player respected it.
Yes, he did. Absolutely. So, and he sat his 10 minutes, and that was that.
It's tough when you have your captain in the penalty box and you're already trying to come back. However, it was nice to see that they didn't quite give up after another goal by KCG.
Harrison scored a goal, which was assisted again by Poon.
Yep. So good to see the captain get on the score sheet. I know I've called him out a couple times, and he might not be producing "quote unquote" offensively, but his leadership on this team as well, not just on the scoreboard, has been excellent.
It has.
But Aware coming back a little too late. But it was nice to see.
Yeah, Brendan Vick getting a goal, which was assisted by sub Suachirat, and again the rookie that he's gonna get the rookie of the year.
He has
Absolutely.
to.
Roger Promtong. So
he's got so much potential. He's got a lot of speed. I see him in some ways kind of like a more advanced version of Mangkorn. He's just lacking a little bit more of that experience and that feel on the ice.
I think he's only 16 years old.
Exactly, that's my point. So he's got all this potential. He just doesn't quite have enough experience to go along with it.
It won't take long, especially with him playing in the SHL. And then, of course, KCG
did not quit, just kept pouring it on.
You got Jan scoring the last 2 goals of the game. So really difficult with time getting 2 assists, and you got assists from Andy Shee and also Patrick Forstner again.
Another 4.9 from him. So
Jan,
man, so many guys, Thai players, just week after week getting better and better, and not only contributing on the ice, but I just want to have a quick shout out contributing off the ice. Ken Kindborn, Masato Kitayama, Jan Isaacson, and I'm sure I'm probably
Winnie, Tan.
Yep. All of these guys contributing to youth hockey here. Coaching, refereeing, Ben as well, and is coaching, I believe, as well.
Yes,
so
he
I
is.
just really want to say thank you to these guys. They're
Ken,
paying it back.
Yeah, so
I think I mentioned Ken at the start. Ken posted on Facebook about his work with the league. So I just want to say thank you to you guys, paying it back and getting other young Thai players interested in hockey.
And so we got Jan who had 4 points on the night, and
well deserved. I don't have that interview this week, but I'll have that for you guys next week. But one Rolling Stone Pizza Player of the game. So 2 Thai players this week. Mangkorn in the first game. Juhani and I were talking at the very end of the game. He thought about giving it to Ken and Stasny again because of a 4-point night. And I said, you know what? Who else had 4 points? And I said his name all night was Mangkorn. And so it was kind of fun because I got predicted it correctly. And Mangkorn actually won the Rolling Stone Pizza in our first game. So congratulations to Mangkorn and congratulations to Jan. We'll get Jan's interview next week.
Absolutely.
Also next week, what do we have coming up?
Well, hold on now. Hold on. You're getting ahead of yourself now. We have the Jerky Monster Play of the Week.
Forgive me.
Here's Maddie with that.
What is up, my fellow SHL enthusiasts? This week, Jerky Monster Play of the Week goes to Christoph Anliker for his sweet goal in the second period. Your Jerky Monster is waiting for you with Dom. See you guys next week.
And now, before we get into the Prime Burger Players of the Month, we need to talk about Stasny's 6-point game.
We had thought, before checking the books, that this might have made a new record. But taking nothing away from him, turns out, in the record books,
he is tied with a number of players. Here, let me bring up that information here, and I'll show that to you guys. Yeah,
okay.
There's like four people who have gotten
6
3
points.
or 4 people who've gotten 6 points.
Wow.
I've got to bring up that stats. I should have brought it up to begin with.
No worries. So Jordan Ashton, because I know one of them.
Well, we'll talk about
Ashton
Jordan, who's got
a
a 6-goal game. So I'll post a graphic with all those here, but I just happened to I lost it.
We'll check it, and then Stasny with a hat trick, 3 goals, and also a secondary hat trick with 3 assists.
That's right. So a couple of guys who've had 4 goals and 2 assists, or 4 assists and 2 goals, and so we've got a good mix. I mean, that game was a great game, though. I mean, where Jordan Ashton got the 6 goals, they won like 11-1.
Now that you brought it up, I can kind of vaguely recall this happening in my first season in the league. They start to blend together after a while, but so much fun. And it's just, season after season, year after year, you get to see a lot of joy, a lot of fun. And for me, as we've kind of talked about in several times now, is more and more young Thai talent getting into the league, contributing, getting experience.
So with that, we're going to go into our Prime Burger players of the month. Mm-hmm. So for our offensive player of the month, it goes to
Jan Isaacson.
Jan Isaacson, well deserved.
Several multi-point games this month, just consistently producing game in and game out, and on the bench as well. He's got a lot of leadership qualities, rallying his teammates, whether they're ahead or they're behind.
He's always there, getting the guys. He's giving them a boost and everything. So
some things you just can't teach.
Yeah, I remember listening last week when KCG had that. They were playing against Siam Mandalay. Siam Mandalay was playing a physical game, and Jan's there going, "Come on, guys, we're better than this. We have more skill." So
it came out.
That's right, in the third period. So he was there with Harrison, bolstering his players. So, and then the Prime Burger defensive player of the month goes to
Alex Phelps.
Alex Phelps, well deserved. He's had a great month. Very he's one of he can rush the puck, but he's kind of more like me, where he's a stay-at-home defensive player, and it's good to see those guys also rewarded. So
we'd like, unfortunately, to be able to give you more of those types of stats, and we just don't have them with our manpower right now. But yes, he does a lot of those things that aren't ending up on our score sheets. Mm-hmm.
And then obviously the goaltender of the month.
How can you take it away from the undefeated Ben Kleinashe?
That's right. Well deserved, gentlemen, and I'll get those coupons to you this weekend.
Congratulations.
So, going into our 13th week.
I was so excited. I jumped the gun earlier.
That's okay. This is kind of like we're doing the same thing, just the games are flipped around. Because they were makeup games.
They're makeup games. I recall.
So and now this is back to the regular games. Aware versus KCG at 9 o'clock.
That's a fun caveat. That's a fun twist. We're having a repeat.
That's right. So,
ooh, what can Aware? Ooh, oh, because now I really feel for him, because now you're coming off of back-to-back games where you've given up
a lot
7
of goals.
And furthermore, whereas in the first game, the prior week, I thought you had more positives versus Novatel. I mean, you kind of walked into that game thinking Novatel, of course, was going to win, but we both remarked on the talent of the Thai players, how they didn't really quit. They were never quite able to scratch across, but that was a really, really close game.
Yep.
And finally, at the end of the game, they just kind of pulled away, and on the score sheet, it wasn't as close as the game actually was.
Right.
This prior week,
it was kind
a
of
different story.
It was a bit ugly for Aware, but I think with everything that's happened this week, I think Jordan is going to go, look, guys, let's settle down. Sorry, Jordan, not Jordan. Justin, thank you.
Happens to both of us.
I think Justin's going to sit down with his guys and go, look, we're better than this. We had a rough game. Let's forget about it. Let's pull ourselves up, buy our socks, and play the game we can play.
You gotta, as I've said before, take what serves you and get rid of the junk. Mm-hmm. If you carry all of this baggage week after week into every single game,
it just builds up.
And you're going to be playing with literally a mountain on your back, and you're never going to be able to overcome that. Pull the positives that you can. Start by winning a shift. You win the shift, win the period. You win the period, try and win the game.
That's right.
You got to pick each other up. People are going to make mistakes. The goaltender might let in a soft goal. A defensive guy might miss his assignment, leaving his goaltender out to dry. An offensive guy might shoot the puck wide, etc. Pick each other up.
I think because of the game last week, KCG might come into this game a little bit like
cocky.
This is going to be easy.
I can see that.
So I think John needs to do is he needs to camp out in front of the net. When Aware can set up the play in the offensive zone and start moving the puck around, John needs to sit in front of that net, look for the rebounds, look for the tip-ins.
Yeah.
You know, you've got Justin who can pass the puck around. You've got Devin who can pass the puck around. You've got some great defensemen in Roman. Unfortunately, we're missing Dennis with an upper body injury from the other week.
Heard about that.
So I believe he's done for the season.
That's a tough loss.
So, but I mean, you still got Roman.
We're not going to beat a dead horse. That roster is so talented. We don't have to say that again and again. If you individually win your battle and do your assignment, you will have a chance.
Yep.
Some people are going to have a good week. Some people are going to have a bad week. But as a whole, if you try and pick each other up, if you can control what you can control and don't let the other crap get in the way.
And play as a team,
Yes.
I think they could surprise KCG.
Certainly could. However, just as that little caveat, that little ace in the hole, you've got, statistically speaking, the best goaltender in the league. We haven't said his name once this week, Leo. And that's the nature of his play.
Oh, is he the best goaltender of the league? Oh, yeah, he's still the best goaltender of the league. Okay, fair enough.
I think
not by much.
Not by much, but statistically, he's also been the only. Well, it's Ben. Ben is the guy who's on his heels. But the small also difference in my book is that Leo's played every game. Well, the first couple games of the season, Lance was sharing with Ben. So anyway,
but yeah, Leo. I will say Leo is absolutely. It's close, but he is the best goaltender in the league. So that's why I think it will be good to have somebody camp out in front of the net, and you'll get those screens, you'll get those tip-ins, you'll get those rebounds. So I think that's how Aware wins this game.
I can see it. The other thing I will say, and I've said this week after week, do not too easily surrender possession.
Yeah.
How many teams, not just Aware, but how many teams go for a stretch pass, go for extra dekes when we've got wet ice, guys? This is a tropical country. We're playing at the end of the night. Sometimes we're playing in the second game. The ice just cannot hold up that well. And when you're trying things that might have worked on clean ice or might have worked in your home country, etc., it's just, you got to be a little bit more conservative here. You got to look to set up your teammates. You got to look for simple plays like dumping and chasing, or just putting the puck on goal.
You got to be careful with the dump and chase, because guys are starting to do that, but they're not dumping it in properly. And the opposing teams, they're picking up. So you dump it in, you don't have your guy already down there, or not already down there, but you don't have your guy breaking into there. You're not wrapping it around the boards far enough. And the defenders are picking it up, and it just turns right back around and heads the other way. So.
Fair enough. And I will say that that's a good counter to my point. But part of this goes into the communication, which we're not seeing enough of, right?
That's true.
If you're communicating with your teammates, if you're communicating with your line mates, if you're communicating with your defensive pair about, this is my strategy for this period, for this game, right? You'll see some of that. And you have to start making some on-ice changes as well. If you find that, hey, guys, you know what? I thought tonight we'd be able to try these stretch passes, and it's just not working. Change it up. Talk to the people. So we'll see. I think, unfortunately, it's just so hard to pull positives for Aware. But if you guys can play as a team, you'll have a chance.
I agree. So
going into our second game, now it's going to be an interesting rematch. CM's going to have a second shot at the King.
Yeah, Siam Mandalay, they have the talent. I think if they have everybody there and they play like they did last week, and they play 3 periods like they did.
Don't
2
start
periods.
Play 3 periods. Don't start from a deficit. And I'm not calling you out, Dream, but you need to have a little bit of a better game. You got to try and steal one of those. I know it's difficult. This team is
especially
so
against
deep.
Novotel Spitfires.
And it's easy for me to say this playing armchair quarterback. I'm not the one sitting there having to face these guys. But you have the ability to steal a game. You are an SHL champion in the past. You can do it. Try and steal one for your teammates.
I think he can do it. I think, again, Siam Mandalay needs to put somebody on Friesen. They need to put somebody on Christoph. They need to put somebody on Stasny. They need to put somebody on Ken. And now, as we've seen, they're going to need to put somebody on Mangkorn.
And Major.
But I think
the start of the game, at least. I'm joking. I asked Jordan
but they can do it.
Just as a brief aside, I asked Jordan that before this game started if he would think about that, because you had predicted that maybe Aware should try that in the previous week, which they didn't. And Jordan said, no, I don't agree with that style. I believe in our team defense. We're going to play zone. So,
My opinion, and Jordan's captain for a reason.
and maybe
And I'm the guy who sits over there and makes announcements. So
and maybe Jordan says, "Hey, last week we got burned, so maybe we do need to try this." Who knows? It would be nice to see. We'll see what happens. But what an interesting turn of events we have this week. We got a rematch.
Yep. So it'll be fun to watch.
With that, we'll see you at the rink.
The opposite was very strong. I was good.
CM Hockey League News is brought to you by Big Chili Magazine, the best read expat lifestyle and news magazine in Thailand. It covers interesting issues in Bangkok and the region while bringing its readers engaging stories and various exclusive interviews, food reviews, and more. You can find the Big Chili Magazine in bookstores and online at thebigchili.com. The music for the opening and ending credits are brought to you by DJ Caucasian.